everyone, welcome back to the Shivering Mouse. I'm so excited to have you back with me today. This episode is going to be kind of a hybrid between my normal episodes on my Disney podcast on Fridays and my Trim Healthy Mama videos. I'm going to kind of combine both of them just because it is kind of a subject where the two territories kind of cross hands. First, as you know, as I'm sure you know, especially if you follow my Facebook group, Disney did make an announcement today as to an opening date. Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom should be opening July 11. Epcot and Hollywood Studios, July 15. DVC resorts like Vero Beach, Florida, Hilton Head, South Carolina, all should be opening on June 15. And then Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground is set for June 22. Now, while this is super exciting, switch all of those Junes to Julys. These are all Julys. But, which is kind of discouraging because we're not even June yet. But the point is, there is a light at the end of the tunnel if they stick with these dates. They have kind of been moving back every announced date they've made so far. But they are kind of blanketing the internet with these released July dates as to when they will open up. I'm guessing that since Florida is starting to open up now, they're taking some time to just kind of put things back together in the parks. The nature in Florida, nature tends to retake its territory pretty fast, so I'm sure they've got their work cut out for them. It's not like the Shivering North up here where the plant life and stuff kind of moves a little slower in the cold, much like me. Nope, it's Florida, the plant life does not mess around. I've seen it like start eating a hotel that had only been closed for a couple months, so it's a big deal. You know, they're going to want to move quickly to make up for lost ground to be ready to open for that date. However, as I mentioned, they have made several dates and kept pushing it back. So I'm trying not to get too excited, but it is exciting. Now, that being said, they are going to open with a couple restrictions, as I'm sure most of you kind of guessed. There are going to be enhanced cleaning measures. They're going to want you to wear a face covering. They'll take your temperature. They want you to have some social distancing practices in mind. All of that kind of stuff, which we've been expecting. These were kind of in the announcements for possibilities months ago. So they kind of gave us a little time to warm up to the idea of there being some conditions to opening. So with it opening and with warm weather finally hitting up here, okay guys, I'm not even kidding, it was snowing up here. I think our last time that it snowed was about 2.5 weeks ago, and now it's 85 degrees. That's crazy. That is such a huge jump. And that's, you know, just how you roll when you live on a peninsula. So, you know, the weather changes quickly when you're surrounded by water. So the point is, warm weather is finally here. Hopefully it's here to stay for like the 2 months that we get warm weather up here. And so that means it has moved from snow season to sunburn season. And I'm sure you can tell by my delicate Irish skin, I am someone who definitely gets hit hard by sunburn season. The worst part is I still find sunburn a lot less painful than being cold. So bring on the sunburn season. I'm excited. Sometimes I even get freckles in sunburn season. It used to happen a lot more as a kid, but it still does happen. So how I'm going to tie the Disney announcement in with the Trim Healthy Mama Wellness Journal part of my YouTube channel, kind of mixing my YouTube channel's content and my podcast content today by talking about drinking your water. Now, when you enter Disney parks especially, but also pretty handy for daily life, is if you have one of those insulated metal kind of thermos type water bottles, kind of like a Yeti. I love those. I took one that I just got at like Walmart to the parks last time I went, and I went in August, guys. It was warm and it was humid, and if you've ever seen curly hair react when things are humid, I basically was wearing a hat and it was like 98, 99 degrees. I still loved it because I stayed hydrated, and that helps keep me from getting a headache and thus getting grumpy. And I don't know, I just like the insulated water bottles a lot because then when you stop and pick up like a free ice water, you've got ice cubes in there, so that if you refill later at a drinking fountain that may not be kind of really cold, especially that one in Epcot right before you enter World Showcase. That drinking fountain, the water is hot. It's like it just came off that pavement that's burned in your shoes. It is hot. So if you already have ice cubes in there, it keeps your water a pretty nice cool temperature for just hours and hours and hours. And sometimes when it's really hot, just that little drink of cool water on your throat is such a relief. It somehow makes your body feel like it's all gotten cooler just from the coolness in your mouth. It's not even Disney magic. It's just kind of real water magic. I used to work with a lady when I was a lifeguard, and she was a physical therapist, and she said water is magic. And sometimes, just saying, sometimes you might want to think about it. So, in other words, today is all about getting your water. Now, there are lots of reasons why you want to stay hydrated, both in your regular day-to-day and especially when you're in a Disney park. For me, probably one of the biggest things, and I know this is not like a scientific answer at all, I don't have like a blinded or double-blind, peer-reviewed, experiment on this or anything, but it does seem as though I recover from sunburn a lot more quickly when I'm hydrated. It makes sense if you think about the fact that one of the first things everybody tells you about being hydrated is it's great for your skin and keeping your skin clear. But also when you think about when you receive a regular burn from a flame or a hot object, you want to kind of use water to cool down that area. I don't know. I'm not sure how scientific that is at all. This is totally anecdotal, just something I've noticed in my own life, that after I get a sunburn, if I spend the next day-ish, maybe two, just really focusing on my hydration, it really does help clear that sunscreen up a lot more quickly and a lot less painfully than I would normally. Usually I've got to suffer with it for a few days. If it's not gone the day after the burn, it's going to hang in there a while. So that one's anecdotal, not proven, just it may help with your sunburn if you're, like me. Speaking of your skin, it does kind of keep your skin clear if you're prone to a little bit of acne, as I tend to be, or if your skin tends to be dry, maybe a little chalky, maybe not as glowy as you want it to be anymore these days. Get your pre-park glow up done by drinking your water ahead of going to the parks, and continue drinking it while you're there. I know Disney has a ton of soda options. Disney has even been accused, when Disneyland opened, of just opening and trying to force people to buy Coca-Cola products. Those of you who pay attention to Disney history know that this is actually because Walt was running out of time building the parks, and he had to choose between building drinking fountains or building restrooms, and he went with the obvious choice. So, vendors had Coca-Cola, but there weren't any drinking fountains available. That being said, today there are drinking fountains available. If you go to any Disney kiosk, you can get free ice water. You can use your snack credits or purchase bottles of nice cold water that they take out of those drums full of ice. So those are nice and cold and refreshing. I don't know, it just kind of helps keep your skin nice while you're on your trip, and just keeps you moving. Another reason I have for why you want to drink a lot of water is I'm not sweating that much. I'm not sweating that much because I'm dressed appropriately, so I really don't need to drink any extra water because I'm not losing extra water through sweat. You're still exhaling though, and actually we lose more, from what I've read, we lose more hydration in our bodies from the amount of water we exhale than we usually do for sweat. Now I'm sure there are some kind of extreme hot yoga or military training, some kind of extreme workouts I'm sure make you sweat enough to exceed your amount of water that you exhale. But for the most part, a lot of the water we lose breathing. And if you're walking extra, I'm assuming most of you probably don't walk 10 to 12 miles a day in your normal daily life, but I'm sure most of you do at the Disney parks. With that extra exertion comes extra exhalation, because you just need more oxygen. So you really can't measure how much water you're losing that way. I'm sure you could if you were in a hospital and somebody had a rebreather on you, but for the most part, it's not how we're going to the parks. I don't know about you. That sounds really inconvenient. So yeah, you're not aware of how much moisture you're losing that way, drink extra. Even if you're not a sweaty person. Now I know some sweaty people that will sweat because they laugh too hard it can be dead winter. You know, those guys especially need to drink extra water, but those of you who think you're not losing water because you're not sweating, drink your water. Another key point here is drinking water actually keeps your kidneys healthy and may even dissolve kidney stones. I can guarantee the Coke products available in the parks will probably not help you with any kidney stones, but drinking water is actually really beneficial for that. And getting dehydrated can actually damage your kidneys as they work harder to kind of excrete anything too unpleasant in your body, usually salt. I'm not going to get into like the hippy dippy, oh, you've inhaled too many toxins. I feel like toxin is one of those words where unless somebody specifically just defines what toxin it is, if somebody ever just uses the blanket term toxins without any specificity, sometimes I get a little skeptical because sometimes that sounds a little bit, I don't know, voodoo-ish. but yeah, in general, drinking the water helps your kidneys, which are your purification organ, helps them continue to process out any excess salt or anything like that, which really, if you're eating those delicious vacation foods, you probably are getting too much salt. You'd be surprised how little salt you typically need, and so you want to keep up your hydration to make sure that you're not exceeding that. Keeps your body temperature a little bit lower, so it's not just that it feels like it helps cool you down, it actually does help keep you cool. Helps prevent muscle cramps, and I did add a side note here of headaches. That's just something I added, not something that was on, in my research. But when I'm dehydrated, one of my first biggest signs is I start to get a headache, like right here, and then kind of right here. Just like a general forehead region headache, like I just, got done in a big fight and headbutted somebody. It feels like that. I mean, it's awful, and it has once or twice eventually led to a migraine when I didn't hydrate fast enough during that process too. So, just to avoid muscle cramps and headaches, hydrate. If you're kind of low on electrolytes, if you're somebody who doesn't get a lot of salt in their diet, kind of the opposite of the last point I made, definitely try and get some electrolytes in there too with like a Gatorade or a Powerade situation, but those tend to have a lot of sugar, so I try to steer clear of those. Smart water might be a better choice. It doesn't have any sugar in it, but yeah, if you're not somebody who eats much salt, get that electrolyte balance up with your water. Helps your digestion move, helps prevent where'd I go? Here we go. Helps decrease bloating and water retention. Again, typically when we're consuming our vacation foods, they're usually not our normal, healthy, more pure diet that we try to stick to with Trim Healthy Mama. So you may notice your pants are a little tighter, your tummy's a little poofy, maybe your wedding rings and bracelets don't fit as comfortably as they normally would. Drinking a lot of water, not pop, water, will help with that excess, water weight. As you get dehydrated and as you consume salt, the more dehydrated you get, the more your body tries to cling to the water it has. And so, as weird as it sounds, you actually have to drink water to keep from retaining water. And, when you're already a little uncomfortable in the Florida heat, having a great big tummy or feeling all swollen will only make you more uncomfortable and frankly a lot more self-conscious when you're getting your picture taken on a whole bunch of rides. Just kind of drink some water. Drinking water helps balance your stress hormones too, so that way you don't have to go through the Disney death march. You're going to ease those stress hormones, calm yourself down just by having water. Anytime your body doesn't have, whoa, that's a big spider. I'll come back to that later. Anytime your body doesn't have that spider's as big as my thumb. I'm a little distracted by that now, sorry. Anytime your body doesn't have what it needs, like water, like a lot of people don't get enough calcium, a lot of people don't get enough magnesium, it does force you to release extra stress hormones. And so dehydration, oh my gosh, it's gone. Hang on, I'm going to pick up my feet here. Okay, there we go. So dehydration can help you release more stress hormones, and therefore drinking water will help you not do that. This is probably the best benefit for me. It helps keep your blood pressure and circulation running. Now, I don't have a blood pressure issue. My blood pressure is usually well within healthy range. However, I did have a blood clotting issue, and so I really do want to assist and balance and boost my circulation in any way that I can. Sorry if I keep looking over there. That's where the giant spider was. And so I want to keep my blood flowing at peak optimum levels. And so for me, that includes hydration. Whatever reasons you choose to drink water at home or in the parks, especially in the parks, please stay hydrated this summer. Ice cream does not count. Sugar actually kind of helps you dehydrate rather than hydrate. So while it does feel cool and satisfying, ice cream doesn't count. Even Trim Healthy Mama ice cream, it's got to be water. You need water. Also, if you're not somebody who likes to drink water, do some lemon slices in your water, or even just eating more fruits and vegetables. Plants are like 90% water, so that will help kind of artificially boost your water content without you feeling like you have to sit there and chug a bunch of water. So those are my Disney announcements, and guess I'm gonna go fight a giant spider. I forgot where I put all my Harry Potter gear. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.